Pretty Little Liars, the TV show, sometimes deals with disturbing and problematic topics. We've provided a list of content warnings in the episode description. You know what's funny is I don't even read it anymore.
Oh, you just already know it?
Like, I look at it, but I don't read it.
Oh, okay. You just like having it there.
Having it there. Mm-hmm. But I haven't read it in a while. I'm just like, oh. Like I'm already on the next line.
Fine,
Like,
going for it. No.
Hello and welcome to Dead Ends. I'm Emily.
I'm Brenton.
And we have 2 new episodes for Pretty Little Liars for you.
Yes, we do. Episode 100. 100 years of excellence. Happy 100, Pretty Little Liars. We're so happy for you.
Disney celebrated 100, and so are we.
Right, exactly. It's the platinum anniversary for PLL, so make sure to get them something special. It's an okay episode.
Yeah, it doesn't really do anything for me.
No, and I wish that they had the A reveal sooner so that we could have had an investigation episode as episode 100, where it's like everybody's coming back to town and like, oh no, A's back. Is it this person? Is it this person? Is it this person? Oh, and we're having to uncover something.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they took it really slow leading up to the 100, I think, to make it feel more impressive. And let me tell you, it did not.
No, I don't really care as much about... I don't care about Alison going back to school.
I don't care for Alison. No, and like, it's kind of, one of my questions is like, why would Allie go back to school? Like, what's the point?
Right.
Like, just move, get out of this town. I wouldn't stay here if I were her parents.
Right.
I guess they kind of have to because Jessica's dead.
Right. They can't leave because of police activity.
I assume. I don't know.
I would assume so too. And at least from Alison's perspective, it's like that's where everything went wrong. Well, and I know she's trying to force being back to normal, but... And,
like, she's still, like... They take a really long time with this very slow build of Allie's lie coming unraveled about, like, when she went missing.
Mm-hmm. They're
like, oh, the detective wants to talk... Lieutenant Tanner wants to talk to her. And I'm like, why wasn't that the day she got back?
Right. There's a, like, we're trying to be precautions and things like that and be, like, okay about it, and that like things have now, they come in for the physical examination and now things seem strange.
Mm-hmm.
And Holbrook maybe went easy on her where Tanner doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like highlighting the weakness that I don't think Alison is a compelling character to have as our point of view. I think we should have kept it to 4.
Also, like, Alison is most exciting when you don't know what she's doing and why she's doing it.
Right. Wouldn't it be so much more exciting? I mean, you can probably already try and... It'd be much more exciting of not knowing where she's coming from with, like, her relationship with Emily.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's like, you kind of have an idea now that even if she doesn't fully mean it, she's maybe jumping into something that might feel good because she wants to feel wanted and things are happening.
Uh-huh.
And it's not exactly super exciting. You kind of go, okay. And then, but if she wasn't a perspective character, you'd be second guessing more things and like allowing the other 4 characters more space to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
Or now we keep having to cut back to Alison to try and go through like perfunctory things. I don't think it's very interesting or exciting.
I agree. And it's also, It's kind of like with Mona right now, too. Like, they're not really doing enough with it to make it exciting.
No.
Like, I'm like, okay, cool, they're cat fighting. Like, that's not what I watch Pretty Little Liars for. I watch because I want to watch a girl boss be taken down by a girl boss, be taken down by a girl boss, trying to figure out who the girl boss is that's trying to girl boss all of them.
Exactly.
This is an MLM.
Uh-huh. And then now we're...
Who's the boss babe? And right now, I don't feel like either of them are really, like, living up to their potential.
No, not at all. And... It's also focused on Alison coming back to school, and it's like, oh, okay, she's making amends with people.
Mm-hmm.
But the school isn't it's just a backdrop. It's not an actual place.
Uh-huh.
And so, like, even when it's like, oh, she's going around and making amends to individual people, those people don't get lines.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, I don't care. I care that she's making amends with the friends because those are the important people.
Those are the people you care about.
Right. Or like Mona, if like her group of people was just made up of like Lucas, Melissa, and potentially, not Paige, but like potentially Paige.
Or if Mona tried to recruit the girls to turn on Ali.
Right. Now that's a girl boss move.
Mm-hmm.
Hanna. Like, really? You're going to go back to her? Instead, Hanna.
Meanwhile, Mona hated the car.
I mean, let's let bygones be bygones. Those wounds healed.
Emotional ones now. I don't
exactly. know. The emotional betrayal of also your friend running you over the car is maybe also a little.
And all the shit
deep.
Mona did while A.
Yeah. Which, I mean,
call off your techno boito, or I'm going to tell the police what your mom keeps in the lasagna box.
You might be like, oh, boy, she really raked my family over the coals, but then also be like, that's pretty good text.
Good copy. Have you noticed that A's clues have gotten a little better?
Yeah, they kind of have, haven't they? Huh.
So was Shauna temporarily writing them?
Right. they drew straws. Shauna drew the short straw for copywriting. Nobody wanted to. I mean, that's the hardest part, really.
Yeah,
like setting
the A message.
Exactly. Doing the actual activities, like say, I don't know. Doing the actual things of like, oh, they're gonna walk into a classroom and see some scary video. Like that's the fun part. Having to write like whatever you're gonna text them, that's not as fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And also was it in one of these or was it the ones before where Alison's typing a text and she types -A and then she fixes it to Alison?
Oh,
and I'm like, why are you signing
your
your text messages, girly pop?
Right.
Like, does she have a burner?
Hey, it's me, Alison, and everybody's like, yeah, we know.
That's so. Anytime someone receives a phone call from someone in my family, you answer the phone, and the person on the other end will go, "Hi, it's me."
So
and
this is that in text message.
Like like if it's your mother, you usually know it's her, unless it's your aunt who sounds like her, or your grandmother. But at a certain point, everyone started doing that, and so now maybe Alison's from a weird Portuguese family.
Yeah, we don't know.
Just like
maybe
me.
De Laurentiis is a classic traditional Portuguese name.
I don't think they look particularly Portuguese.
No, I don't think so either. But you never know.
I'm also not good at identifying, especially European ethnicities.
I don't know. They're a bunch of blonde-haired, blue-eyed people. They're all Scandinavian.
Exactly.
Swedish. Well, so before I jump into the summary, I read there was like a Hollywood. I was telling you about this off mic, but there's like a Hollywood Reporter article that was, we spoke to the cast and crew on like what their favorite things after 100 episodes were, favorite twists and turns. So Marlene King's, I think unsurprisingly, is like, wow, the way we can take characters like Toby and Ezra and make them evil and turn them back again. And I go, one of those things is okay. It's not great the second time. I
know, and I misled you on that a little.
On the Toby?
The Ezra.
Oh, Fitz.
Yeah.
Well,
because I was like, they don't get back together, which they don't.
Right.
But I forgot they had sex.
Right. It's like,
but they don't get back together.
Right. They get hot and heavy, but
who among us hasn't made a mistake with an ex,
Right. That's right.
Ours just weren't felonies.
So, this is another thing. This isn't spoil. I mean, it's kind of spoilers, but I thought it was really funny. Oliver Goldstick is like, oh yeah, there's things that we just haven't followed up on, like Spencer selling Melissa's engagement ring. We're gonna follow up on that. It's just like, okay, sure. I don't really care. And then Joseph Doherty, actually he has two things. One is wild that he's very excited, oh yeah, I thought it was great that we had Hanna slap Jenna, and wow, we really did that. She slapped a blind girl. And it's like, okay, bud, you're an adult. Let's calm down. But the other one that he talked about is that there's a bunch of constructions on the set for the WB lot and things. And they were going to tear down one of the sets. So they're like, oh, can we drive a car through it? And so that's how the car went through Emily's house.
Oh.
Right. They're like, oh yeah, so if we have the opportunity, we're going to drive a car through it. And I'm like, you know what? Fair. I think there were 4 people that said Toby's A-Team was their biggest one. And most of the time the cast was things that related to their character. So Mona was Mona going turning out to be A, or Keegan Allen and Troyan were both, Toby. And same with Lucy Hale and Ian Harding. Lucy is she's very media coached, is what I would say. That comes off at is like, wow, like, it was really wild when Ezra turned out because he was the perfect boyfriend. So, something had to slip up and just like, and the fan, I can't believe they did that because the fans were really angry, but wow, we really turned it around. Something like that. I don't know. So I thought that was hilarious. And then out of the other people, Tyler Blackburn was the only one that was like, yeah, like Alison's mom was like dying is pretty crazy. When the adults are getting into it. And then the final one on the list, I want to make sure I get Laura Layton, Ashley's actor, is when I hit Wilden with a car, and I'm like, you know what, that takes the cake. That takes the cake.
If you had to rank everything that happened on this show in order of like what was most girl boss,
that's number one.
That's number one.
We absolutely love it. And then I thought it was funny too. Sasha Patrice was like, yeah, like Toby turning out to be because Keegan knew from like day one. So I was like, oh, did they plan that like that far in advance? So I don't know if it was like day one of the season. She just said like originally, yeah. And she's like, we were friends. I can't believe you didn't tell me. But I was like, oh, that's like kind of surprising, like how far ahead that they were like kind of planning that one.
There are certain things now that when I watch it, I'm like, was that intentional foreshadowing or was it just like a nice open plot hole?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Because it's good for me because I always go for open plot hole. So it's like at least okay, like that one was planned, I guess, for a while. What does she say specifically?
The stuff with Ezra, I've never been able to tell if it was intentionally from the very beginning, like planned to be that he was writing a book, or if that was backed up into.
Right.
If you listen to this and if you listen to this, obviously you're here, but if you have an opinion on that, please let us know.
No. Yeah, totally.
I want to know like what plot points you think were like backed into, because like obviously as we get that we've gotten to thus far. If you want to say something that hasn't happened yet, you can send me a DM on Instagram, or you can find it in the link tree, or you can send us an email and just put in the subject line, Brenton, do not read. So that then I can read it. But if it's something that's already happened, put it in the comments.
Yeah, please
don't want to spoil things for you.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Because I think as you get to the end of the show, you start being like, okay, none of this was planned. Or like, when did they start planting the seeds for that? Because like, there's certain things that happen that now as I'm watching, I'm like, okay, was that planned from this point? Like, was the moment Jessica died a turning point? Or was the moment Ezra was revealed a turning point? Or was the moment Wilden was hit with the car a turning point? But like, I don't know. I could not tell you.
Right. But you're like, okay, I could maybe see how this would work backwards. And
when you start backwards mapping, you're like, was it always planned this way?
Right. So I looked back and Sasha Patrice says episode 1. So that makes me think, I guess, like pilot, but I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to make sure at least Lucy Hale was like, I didn't know that they would like want to make the fans mad. Everyone was upset about it, but the show went there and it made the character more interesting. So she doesn't comment on like the heel turn back. I just the face turn back, but I don't want to misrepresent her.
Yeah, don't put words in her mouth.
Exactly. Okay, well, are we ready to get into the episode description then?
Yeah, the recap.
Yeah, just the description. Cutting down a lot of time. Episode 100, season 5, episode 5, Miss Me times 100. In the fandom wiki, always, and you go in there and it's like trivia. The X times 100 stands for like the 100th episode.
Okay, so think that like, remember that the fandom on this was also people that were like young teenagers. Along with
I have an axe to grind with just fandom in general.
Oh yeah. No, it's a horrible. I mean, it's a very helpful tool for me sometimes.
Fandom proper noun.
The website.
Oh yeah, fandom TM. Fandom proper noun. I probably also have a lot of gripes with because they've done a lot of bad things just in general.
I don't know what fandom is.
No, I just meant fandoms in general.
Oh, I don't think
that's not a proper noun. That's just a noun.
Yeah.
There's some proper nouns. Maybe Star Wars fandom proper noun, and yeah.
I'm sure if you're referring to it like in a specific
right, just in context.
And sorry. I let you edit my book. We're arguing over proper nouns.
Well, here's the thing: I did it for free.
That's why you listen to this podcast, right?
Right. That's our other one.
Our takes on grammar.
Or grammar quarterly. We do it once every 3 months.
That's why we're bad at it.
Exactly. Oh, what the fuck was a comma again? Travis and Hanna sit in the yard. He's looking through a telescope, and Hannah's distracted on her laptop. He comforts her, saying that she doesn't have to walk into school with Alison tomorrow, and Hannah's worried everyone will think they're all her puppets again. He tries to reassure her, but she's worried about not knowing who she really is. Aria and Fitz walking downtown Rosewood. She's still worried about Shauna, and he tells her, like, oh, your worry's not about Shauna. Like, you're doing this to yourself. Aria says she feels silly waiting for an A text to come in. He says you don't have to worry about that anymore. They see Alison talking to someone in an SUV. Aria calls to her, and the SUV drives off. She asks if Aria and Fitz are on a date. Alison got dropped off by her dad's employee. Since he forgot to take her to school for enrollment forms, her dad. And Fitz says he's sorry for what happened to her mom. A bus pulls up and then, pulls away, revealing Jenna has returned. Season 4, episode 9 was the last time she's been on here. So that's a lot of episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Spencer, probably almost a year. Looking at dates.
I wonder if she's doing something else.
Yeah, maybe. Spencer and Toby make tea. Toby asks if she wants him to talk to Peter. Spencer says, good luck, he's been avoiding me. Spencer didn't tell Alison her theory on her dad killing Jessica. Toby wonders who Alison is now and quotes Fitzgerald. He catches
F.
on.
Scott, to be exact.
Exactly. He catches on that Spencer doesn't fully believe she's changed, that Alison's changed, or like what happened to her. Toby says it's okay to close the door on someone if they're toxic. Great advice. He gets a call from Jenna and says he hasn't heard from her since she moved to New York. He picks up and then he says he'll be right over. He tells Spencer that Shauna is dead and Jenna could barely get out the words. The friends all meet and Aria says Spencer doesn't need to lie to Toby about this. He can tell him what happened. Aria notices Spencer looking over at Alison, and then Aria's like, it's your decision to make, Spencer, it's not hers. Emily and Hanna wonder if Jenna is back to get revenge. Alison supposes Shauna lied that Jenna wasn't after them in New York. Because Jenna was also in New York. Alison tells everyone that she's going to try to make amends with everyone at school, just like she is with them. Aria asks if that includes Jenna. Alison gets ready for school, pumps herself up to go. The friends all wait for her to arrive outside school, and they see her approach as everyone stares. They notice that Alison walks up to people she used to make fun of and talk to them. Paige watches her as Sidney comes up saying, oh, that's the Queen of Mean. Paige then leaves, and we see Mona and Lucas also watch. Friends walk down the hall together with Alison in slow-mo. Emily agrees to walk her to the guidance counselor, and the others say, call us if you need us at all, and we'll meet at lunch. Alison thanks them and leaves, and Spencer gets called to the principal's office. As Spencer comes in, she sees her mom, and Veronica's like, we have to go home and pack. I'm leaving your father. Lucas talks to Hanna and says, let's not talk about Alison today. I have a girlfriend. She lives out of town. She's totally real, Hanna. Come to my house. I'm hosting a party. You know that summer camp I went to, Hanna? So Hanna can meet Lucas's girlfriend can meet all his friends at 7 o'clock. Hanna agrees to come and invites Travis. As she walks away, Lucas looks suspicious and makes a phone call.
You never had a summer camp girlfriend, did you?
No. I didn't go to summer camp either.
I went to a couple Jesus camps.
No Jesus camp, thankfully. My mom was like, don't you want to go? I'm like, no. But I mean, she didn't listen to me when she's like, well, you got to do sports camps. Don't you want to get better? It's like, not really. I like playing games. I don't like practice. No wonder I wasn't very good.
I don't want to improve. Thank you.
Exactly.
I'm content.
I hated practice, and I'm like, but games, that's fun.
Really?
Yeah.
I loved dance class more than I loved recital.
This is why I don't play sports.
But I loved class way more than
doing the recital.
I mean, I loved doing the recital because it was different and it was fun.
Was it doing the moves and getting better at them, or just practicing and things? What
did I like?
What did you like about it?
I think I enjoyed what I was doing, and I really liked spending time with Miss Vicky.
Oh, okay.
And sometimes I had classes with other people that I liked. Sometimes I didn't like them, but I still had fun because it was I felt very. There's a routine to it, but you do something new at the same time. When you, and especially in ballet, you do the bar. And the bar, you have a pre-warm-up usually, and then you do bar. And bar is the same every time, unless you're adding on or learning something new. So it's very routine, but then you get to do fun things when you go across the floor. And I don't know, it's just fun to learn new tricks and learn choreography. Learning the dance and then trying to figure it out. And then you're stopping and you're starting and you're trying to figure it out. And I don't know, it's fun.
Okay. I think I just didn't like what I was doing.
I think you didn't like what you were doing either. Also, like conditioning in dance is like splits and like jumps and leaps. And I mean, like you can do like other stuff too, but it's not like you're not just like running pointlessly around a field. Even in gymnastics, the only running you really do for conditioning, like you can warm up with it, I guess, is like you're running at the vault.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, when you're young and you're playing sports, it's not like they're doing like, you're all going to do laps today. It's like, okay, we're going to practice our dribbling. We're going to practice passing, which like, you know, this is all basketball related, but like if you if you actually really like the sport, then it might be like, oh yeah, that's pretty fun. But I'm like, no, I want to play knockout, the game at the end. We play that.
I love it.
Veronica's packing and won't answer Spencer's questions about Peter and has to yell at her mom to get her to talk. Veronica didn't check into the spa. She was working with a PI back on the night that Alison disappeared, and on the night she did, on the night Jessica was killed. Sorry, I have that backwards. She said she was working with a PI. And on the night Jessica was killed, Peter and Melissa said they went to a diner in Richville, but that was a lie. Veronica and Peter had an understanding not to involve the girls in there, ... Doesn't finish it. Spencer hugs her mom, and they agree to stick with each other. The other three friends worry about not hearing from Spencer. Aria wants to swing by Jenna's to apologize for Shauna. Emily and Hannah is like, why the fuck would you do that? And Aria gets angry and leaves. Sidney invites Emily to the school's Frozen sing-along, and Emily agrees. Did you know this is an ABC Family joint, which is underneath Disney Incorporated? As Sidney leaves, Emily talks to Paige about Alison.
Well, but first she goes, are you more of an Anna or an Elsa?
Right.
It's Anna. I was so mad.
What the fuck are you doing?
Right? It's Anna.
It is Anna. Sidney, not a real fan.
Yeah, she's a fake fan.
Mm-hmm. She's like, I love the...
Or maybe Paige says it. Paige might say it.
Oh, I think actually Paige said it, yeah.
Scandy.
Oh. You know, this is going to sound mean.
No.
But, you know, Paige doesn't have a lot of confidence. I think she probably would be the person that'd be like, oh, I've totally seen Frozen. You know, Anna. And it'd be like, did you actually watch the movie? And she's like, no, I have not seen the movie.
Who among us hasn't lied about a movie we've watched to look cool?
Totally.
So many times I'd be at a party, I'd be like, have you seen this? And because I didn't want to hear them tell me the plot, I would say, yes.
Yeah.
You know what? It was nice. It was all right. What did you think of it?
Right. Well, I mean, nice is an understatement when talking about the oeuvre of Chris Nolan.
That's when I'd start chugging.
As Sidney leaves, Emily talks to Paige about Alison. Paige skipped class because of Alison coming back and says she can't be in the same room as her. Emily tells her, she's like, Paige, I'm going to help you get through this. What out? Aria visits Jenna and
You're not helping Paige.
No. Aria visits Jenna and finds the front door open. She heads into Jenna's room and finds Jenna crying on the floor alone. She asks if someone's there, and Aria turns and runs away.
I have a thing about this scene, and it's not worth noting after you're done recapping, but why the fuck do the Cavanaughs leave their door unlocked all the time?
Yeah.
They have a blind daughter, and they leave the doors unlocked?
But they're never there either.
Yeah, so did Jenna leave the door unlocked?
She must have.
Or did Toby leave the door unlocked? Well, he doesn't really go there.
Right.
He's got his own...
Because he's in the brew.
He's in his apartment above the brew.
But yeah, what...
Sleeps down there.
But they have no parents.
Yeah, it's just weird.
Yeah. Emily hosts a mediation for Paige and Alison. Alison, which, again, butt out. Alison says she feels so ashamed for how she treated Paige, and Paige is like, you were a terrible person, and I hated you. Alison apologized, and Paige like, did you do that for yourself or for what she did? And Alison's like, I did it for all of it. Hanna meets with Spencer. Spencer and her talk about Peter and Jessica. Ashley comes in and tells Hanna Travis is there and asks if Spencer's okay. I saw your mom at the blank hotel they're staying at. We didn't write it down. And Spencer says, oh, we're just not in the house because we're having plumbing issues. Ashley leaves and Hanna says she doesn't need to lie about the divorce. And Spencer's like, I don't know why I lied. Hanna then comforts her. Emily goes to leave, and Alison asks what her plans are for tonight. And Emily's like, I'm going to a school thing, and it's with Paige, so... And Alison's like, oh, I get it, but, can I just stay at your house for a bit? My dad is out tonight, and, I don't want to go home to an empty house. Emily's like, that's okay. Alison says she owes Emily an apology. I made you think the feelings were one-sided, but they weren't. Emily's like, what the hell do you want me to do with that? And Alison's like, I just wanted you to know. Hanna is at the brew and looks at a text from Travis to hurry up. Haleb is then in line behind her with short hair and some weird facial hair.
And
Haleb
tight. We're going to go into an era, I believe, of Haleb wearing Tight pants.
I couldn't tell if he was like, he kind of looks like he's a vampire or like the front man for like
An emo group.
Exactly, yeah. Or like a Chris Angel mind freak sort of thing. Yeah.
I mean, it's because we're in our edgy era. Hannah's
Right.
got dark streaks in her hair,
Mm-hmm.
and Caleb's got tight pants.
Right. And we get some juicy Ravenswood lore later.
Oh, I have a whole thing about that.
Caleb tries to... Yeah, we can tell that he's also in his edgy era because he tries to pick a fight with some jocks, but Hanna intervenes. She asks when he got back and why...
I would have let him fight.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? If you want to be stupid, be stupid.
Not my problem.
You left me.
Yeah.
And then you didn't tell me you're coming back.
Uh-huh.
And I temporarily had brunette hair for you.
It's the weirdest thing.
Hanna had, in the course of like, what is this timeline? Like 3 months. Also, how long has he been gone? Because when you really think about how much has happened and like how they still haven't graduated yet.
It's only been a couple months. Maybe a month? Maybe a month.
Time moves
Uh-huh.
fast in Rosewood.
Yeah. And Ravenswood, I guess.
Or maybe it's just like,
Oh, wait, but we're still ahead of Christmas.
yeah, it's not Christmas yet.
Good Lord.
Trust me, you'll know when it's Christmas, baby. Santa's coming.
The barista drops 2 coffees off for Hanna, and Caleb sees that one of the coffee cups has Travis's name on it. Hanna leaves a voicemail for Caleb, and we can see she's obviously drunk at Lucas's party. She asks where Lucas's girlfriend is and if she's actually real, and Lucas is like, "Oh, she's real, all right." And Hannah's like, "Oh, you're having sex with her." And Lucas is like, "Ah, pusha." And then Travis walks over saying he was looking for her and says she's had enough tonight and pulls her away. And she's like, "You don't know what I'm thinking." And then like as she's like walking away, she's like, "What'd you say about enough?" Emily, Sidney, and Paige are at the sing-along. Paige spoke to Jenna and heard about Shauna's murder. That's wild. Sidney is confused on who these people are, and Emily is shook. Alison heads home as a car turns on behind her and starts to follow her. This is a Chevy, not a Mustang, just for everyone keeping track at home. Aria comes home and leaves her front door open and is then jump scared by Jenna. Jenna asks what she is doing at her house early, and Aria invites her in, but Jenna presses her. Aria's like, "I heard about Shauna and wanted to see if you're okay." Jenna says, "Why would you even care?" Aria's like, "Well, with Ali back, we're all feeling reflective and like guilty for our part in the accident." Jenna says she doesn't have anybody left and it's nobody's fault but her own. Aria says, "Do you want to come in for tea? I didn't know Shauna, but if you wanted to tell me about her, like, you can feel free and come in." And Jenna says that'd be nice. Alison is pursued by the Chevy and hides in the church. Remember the church? She sends an SOS text to the friends. She hears someone move in the church, but finds an open window and shuts it. Turns around to find Mona. She's like, "You don't scare me, Mona." Mona's like, "You're not as good of a liar as you used to be. I know you were all in New York when Shauna was murdered, and I can prove it." Alison asks what she wants, and Mona's like, the only thing I ever want for you to leave town. You may have convinced the others you've changed, but not me. Alison's like, "Well, what about like what you did to those girls?" Mona's like, "Well, no one feels worse about that than me, but the doctors say I'm cured." Alison says, "If you had had proof that you were in New York, you would have done. If you had proof that we were in New York, you would have done it already. I will win over your army of losers. All I had to do was apologize, and they invited me to their lunch table. I made you loser, Mona, once. I can do it again." Mona slaps her, and then Alison slaps her back super hard and leaves a cut. Alison says, "Leave me alone."
Stiff water.
Okay. Spencer, Emily, and Aria meet with Alison. Alison says Mona must have had help. She wasn't the one who was driving. Aria asks what Alison did once Mona slapped her, and Alison's like, "Well, I just stared at her." Spencer's like, "She was just trying to scare you," and Alison's like, "Well, she did." Ashley tucks Hanna into bed and gives her a lecture that they'll talk in the morning. Hannah's like, "Thank you for not being mad," and Ashley's like, "No, I am, but you're not going to remember it enough, like, because you're drunk tonight, so why talk now?" She asks why she got so drunk, and Hannah's like, "Caleb's back." Emily calls her mom and gets the okay to sleep over at Alison's. Alison says, "You probably won't remember what I said to you when I pulled you out of the barn." Emily's like, "I remember you said you missed me the most," and Alison's like, "You were the hardest to leave behind." Aria visits Fitz with pie. She talks about Jenna and thinks that Jenna actually loved Shauna and wasn't manipulating her. Fitz says you have to move on from Shauna. Shows her the scar he got from Shauna shooting him, and is like, it was in that moment when you killed her was going to be either you or her, and this is what she did to me. She touches the scar. He pulls her up, and they start making out. We get a moody synth cover of the police. Emily and Alison sit in her bed, and then Emily calls to Alison, and they kiss and start making out. And we cut back to Aria and Fitz having sex. The friends arrive at school and wonder how Mona sent the text to Alison, originally of the I forget what it actually says. What it was like a couple episodes ago. And then how she knew about them in New York. Spencer believes Mona hacked into their phones and knew where they were. They head into the lunchroom and see a crowd gathered. Mona's at the center, and Spencer's like, "We're not afraid of you, Mona." And Mona's like, "Well, like Allison attacked me, and once she said like I could disappear, and so then I turned on my video and showed Spencer a recording from the night before, but only with Allison's slap. Like you could see that it like cuts around it." The friends gather in the bathroom and they're angry at Allison. Allison's like, "She slapped me first and set me up." And Emily's like, "You went out of your way to lie to us yet again." A black Corvette pulls up behind the old Mustang. Sidney steps out. She's like, "That's a nice car." And Jenna's like, "Well, it used to be mine." Sidney, reason why it changed hands, unknown. Sidney walks her over to talk to Mona. They say they don't want to see things go back to the way they were. They remember how Allison treated them like dolls. Mona says, "Good, maybe we can get rid of her." And they hear a car pull up. Toby and Spencer sit in his car, and Toby wonders what a world was like without A. Spencer says the Hastings don't need A to make a mess of things. She asks if he's mad for waiting so long to tell him, and he's like, "Get over here." And they cuddle and make out. Caleb sits alone on a playground, and Hanna visits him and asks why he didn't call back. He's like, "Travis is nice. I didn't want to screw that up." And she asks why he's back, but he doesn't answer. He asks if she changed her hair because Allison's back, and she's like, "Maybe." Allison pleads to Emily to forgive her. Emily asks why she lied. Allison's like, "I was afraid I was going to lose you." And she tries to kiss Emily, and Emily gets up and says it's not going to fix this. Suddenly, the news cuts over to the movie that they have on the TV, saying there was a break in the Jane Doe in Allison's grave. And asks if Haleb, if Miranda found her family. He's like, "I don't know. The night you left Ravenswood is the last time I saw her." Interesting. Hanna gets a text and says we have to go. They arrive at Emily's house with Ali, Emily, Fitz, Toby, Spencer, and Aria, and they're all watching the news. Hanna asks Spencer if Emily and Allison are together, and Spencer is like, "Have you been drinking again?" "Spencer, come on, gossip."
Yeah. I don't care. Who cares if she's drunk?
I know. I'm sober enough to see this. Police come out and on the broadcast and says the victim was Bethany Young, a 17-year-old patient from Radley who had ran away on the night Alison was allegedly kidnapped. And Spencer's like, "Wait a minute, did the police just say allegedly?" Suddenly, explosion goes off, breaking the windows. They go outside and see the wreckage and find Toby and Jenna's house on fire. Haleb asks if anyone was in there, and Toby goes running to go check. We hear a bunch of phones go off. Get a black hoodie it cuts to a black hoodie in an apartment. Movers leave after dropping a bunch of things off. They have a dollhouse and a police scanner, and there's a box of dolls, and they set a blonde one next to the dollhouse. The end.
Okay. Why would Allison return to school?
Yeah, there's no stubbornness.
Okay.
Like, not gonna show, like, not gonna let them win, but also Allison is extremely skittish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
for
she's not in a good
seemingly
spot.
good reason. So, like, yeah, but it's not a great call. It's a pretty bad call in general.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody hates you there.
Yeah,
I think it's maybe that type of what she like shows when back into a corner with Mona of like, yeah, you're not gonna like rattle me, even though she's extremely rattled. Like she's fight first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that fight, flight, or freeze. So she's going to fight. But like play fun, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But it just doesn't matter.
No. How do we get Aria into therapy? She's having nightmares about Shauna. She's stressed about Shauna.
Mm-hmm.
She did self-defense, but you know.
And her boyfriend is not like a therapist. Where's
her boyfriend isn't her boyfriend.
Right.
He's her former teacher.
Yes.
Stalker.
Writer. Biographer. What was there?
And most importantly, lover.
That's right. No, yeah. What was what's the therapist name that they used to have?
Doctor.
I know, I can't remember. We gotta get it back to her.
God, what was her name? I don't know.
I can't remember at all. Sullivan, Dr.
Wow.
Sullivan.
Look at you.
And we gotta get back to Dr. Sullivan. You know.
Well, how are you gonna tell her there's a crime, an unsolved mystery? You can't tell her.
I mean, but she was, you know, able to help them so much when they like didn't want to tell her about A.
True.
It's at least someone, I guess. But yeah, Aria needs.
She needs help.
She doesn't need. You know what?
They all do.
Fuck Alison and just tell her what happened. Shauna came after us.
Yeah.
It was self-defense. This is not worth it. Like,
that's what I did. Like from the beginning, I remember when I watched this, because it is self-defense. Like the first time I watched this, I was like, why would you not just immediately tell the police what happened?
Yeah.
You were here, especially because she has that tie to Ezra, so she could be like, hey, we were here because Alison brought us here. Like, can you confirm that, like we found our friend, we went to go find her, and then this girl attacked us.
Right.
And it was at your theater.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like that would be so much more.
And then because why Ezra was in New York would make sense too. Like if Aria's there, and it's like, oh, like we were all here.
Yeah.
Like you don't even have to explain like the nuance of that to the police. They're not going to give a fuck.
Totally. And
if you wanted to have lies, you can make it lies around that.
Yeah. And it would be like, I know they're trying to like protect a friend and everything, and that's our, but it would be so much more interesting if we didn't have that perspective of Alison and we're so much more suspicious of like why she's lying and everything. Where it's like she's such the victim.
We're gonna get back to that.
Okay.
There's points in time where I'm very suspicious of Alison as the show goes on.
Yeah. I think Alison as just victim,
it doesn't work.
No.
It's not fun.
Yeah. So that's why we're sitting here picking this apart. Whereas like, damn, it looks like if she was like holding something over on the friends, that'd be much more interesting, or felt like it they were, even if she wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
But also, we'll say Aria is better at giving advice, than taking it herself. Is what I'm trying to say.
Oh yeah, because she tells Spencer to tell Toby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, go ahead. It's not like, because like she picks up on like Spencer eyeing Alison for approval, and she's like, it's not hers.
Yeah.
So this always goes back to like how you talk up Aria in that relationship.
Yeah, Aria is the one that seems to have the best backbone to Alison, and I think it's because Aria is very much who she is.
Mm-hmm.
And so Alison's influence on who she is doesn't impact her. Whereas like Alison thinks Aria's cool. That's why they were friends.
Uh-huh.
Whereas it's like Alison and Spencer competed. Alison and Emily were romantic. Alison and Hanna was kind of like mentor protege. Like it wasn't like Alison was like, let me make you cool.
Right. Exactly.
And she didn't have anything on Aria. It was like she saw her as an equal.
Yeah. It's like
that's why I wonder if that's the line, why I picked you when she puts the thing in the doll. I wonder if that has anything to do with that.
Oh, what? Oh, for Aria.
Yeah. When she
because
Aria.
it's like, you're the one I respect.
Yeah. I've always wondered like what that, because that's the one that I feel like you really don't get explained. Like you get Emily's explained and,
right.
all that. But I was always like, I wonder why. Why did she pick Aria?
Mm-hmm. Because it's like, I trust you the most.
Or like, I think you can get it done. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
We have similar taste.
Right. Not so different, you and I. But I think that's true. Like, I think, and when I said that they are not similar.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good read there. It's like a respect.
Mm-hmm. Do you think Toby using a F. Scott Fitzgerald quote has anything to do with Ezra, or do you think it's purely coincidental?
Oh, yeah. I am still suspicious of Toby because of his random trip to the UK.
I forget about that all the time. Like, if you asked me if Toby went to Europe, I would say no.
See,
who did go to Europe was that first boy that she salsa danced with.
Oh,
right. To play tennis,
Andrew, right?
No,
Alex.
Right.
Andrew is the buff nerd who's always just like, hey, you broken up with him yet?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Damn, everybody, maybe you need to go see Alex. But I wouldn't be suspicious of Toby if I wasn't, honestly doing this podcast and trying to figure it out. So I mean, it's a good nod from the writers at least to kind of give to kind of feed that fire.
Mm-hmm. Would you walk into the school with Ali on her first day back?
If I was Emily and Hanna, okay.
I wouldn't have lied for her. I would have told the police that she was lying because I'm a rat.
Like
in that particular instance, even as Aria, I would have been like, hey, this is what happened. This is exactly how it went down. And I'm going to tell you.
So this is why you're Aria. Here's why I'm Hanna. Yes. Watch it with her. I'd be like, just like, and also just flustered when people are just like Spencer being like, why are we lying for her? And it's just like, well, just lie for her. I can't make these decisions right now. I don't know who I am. I'm like, damn it. Yep. They got it in one. Especially at like,
that age.
17.
Yeah.
17. I was just like, I don't know. I like friend loyalty over everything.
Yeah, very Hufflepuff of you. Where did Peter and Melissa actually go the night Ali went missing, or did they go anywhere?
They went to the lake or something.
That's what he tells Spencer.
Oh right, they went.
It wasn't.
Went
We
to the
didn't go there. We went to the lake instead.
Right. They go to Radley. I wonder if they went to Radley.
I know where one of them was.
Oh, on the night Jessica died?
No, this is the night Ali went missing. I thought that was what they were talking about there.
It was Jessica.
Oh.
So it was the night Jessica went missing. Or Jessica died.
I thought it was the night Ali died.
No, because that's why
missing.
it's like, oh my God, I think my dad killed Alison.
Uh-huh.
And then that's what
Yeah, but I thought she was uncovering that he had lied about a bunch of other things. Like that's...
Oh.
Was I wrong?
It was just that.
Okay.
Well... We'll need to double check that now that we're having this. I wrote down Jessica, and I'm pretty sure it was like that she was like freaked out because she's like, I think he might have killed Jessica to silence her, because I think that's the conversation they have afterwards. So I wonder if they went to Radley, because that all roads lead to Radley, and there might be like something, or at least something connected there. Because I think that's where we're going to wrap back around on this, because of Toby's mom and Jessica's name on the board of directors and all that stuff.
Yeah, and we get more in the next episode, literally. And Bethany Young.
Right. Oh, exactly. And Bethany. Which is a wild thing to throw in here, and I'm sure we'll get more stuff on Bethany. Which because they don't really call attention to it. But that the priority of like newsworthy things, of prioritizing the like rich
yeah,
like
the
put together
pretty
white
blonde white girl who went missing. I mean, I don't remember what Bethany Young looks like. I'm not gonna lie.
Right. But at least the conception of it, of like she was like the the pretty young blonde girl that everybody knew in town, and then versus the like mentally unwell girl that was a patient. You go, oh well, and like doesn't get any press because
why because they looked into other girls that went missing that weekend. Why wasn't Bethany on that list?
Exactly. So I think, there's a little bit of like real world like politics pulling in there.
Are any of Ali's apologies sincere?
I think I do think there's a part of her that's like scared straight, but I don't know if she has truly like figured out what it means to like reconcile with people. Like I do think she feels bad for the way she like treated like certain people like Emily and things like that. And I think there's a part of her that is at least like romantically interested in things, even if my read is that she's going a little bit above and beyond because she wants to be liked by someone and wants to have someone in her corner. But I think she doesn't. I think a lot of it is coming from her old ways of like selfishness and the way she lorded over people. So it's like, I need to do these steps in order to like move on, rather than a actual like I need to make amends with people because I feel truly guilty. Because or else she wouldn't be doing these things. So she's like the way she like changes things on the friends and like puts them in a position, or even the way she like treats like Paige. I don't think she truly gets it yet. I think that scene is like, yeah, I just want you to feel okay with me being around in that like kind of like teen way. And that doesn't just have to be teen, but someone who like does not actually truly understand like what it means to like ask for forgiveness.
Fair enough. You answered my why does Ali confess her feelings then?
Because that's a horrible position to put Emily in. Of I think that's also where that read comes from, because it's like, oh, I just I just want you to know.
Uh-huh.
Because then that's manipulative. It's manipulative.
Yeah.
And so it's still the same old Alison that we're getting there,
Mm-hmm.
but just in a different context, a softer context where she is maybe trying to give a try of like being different and not being immediately like toxic and corrosive to the people around her. But it's still a manipulation of my feelings for you were genuine.
Mm-hmm.
And rather than like kind of just letting Emily accept her back, that she's like preying on those emotions that Emily has for her.
Okay. Why does Mona want Ali gone?
Queen Bee, she hates Alison. And I think it's as simple as that. Is that truly it's the years of torment and everything, and like Mona being on top of the school. There's something threatening there. That is why Mona pulls out all the stops to go after her. And in the way that the other friends find they're slipping back into old patterns, or at least Hanna specifically with her back, I feel like Mona feels like she is loser Mona when Alison's around.
Mm-hmm. How the fuck did Ali break skin with one smack? And follow up, why did Ali lie to the girls about hitting Mona?
She's got brass knuckles that she puts on to slip a little bit. Yeah.
God.
Mess her up. It's that same old patterns that I'm talking about, that it's like, how do I get someone to I can't possibly be honest with someone because then they won't see my side.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Alison in that case is acting irrationally. So it's going to come off bad to the friends and she might feel guilty about it. So it's like, but I can't fully fess up to that because then they won't be on my side and they'll think I'm bad.
Mm-hmm.
So like the easiest way for me to do that and have them still be my friends. So she's worried about not having her friends, but like using her same old
tactics.
Exactly. Yeah.
What does Sidney knowing Jenna
She can't help herself essentially
mean for us?
Well, I can't say I'm surprised. It's like, oh no, the new person in town doing bad things.
If they're new to town, they're always involved with Jenna. That's kind of the vibe you get.
Right, exactly. Jenna's like, okay, I gotta call my people from back home or people from the clinic. That Sidney was sent there to spy on Emily and Paige, potentially like get in the middle of them to make it worse for Emily and put the torture to her. That's my thought on that. Or at least give an inside.
Yeah, keep her busy.
Yeah.
What do we think of Emily and Alison's kiss? The Emison kiss.
Not a lot of chemistry there.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think because we really know, since we're just kind of getting to know Alison as an actual character and things. I don't know. Emily and Alison don't strike me as a romantic pairing at all. Because Emily is just like very kind of protective and things. I don't know. There's not the passion there of like something I'd really like pull in.
Fair
and
enough.
It could be that we're at a spot where this isn't supposed to feel great.
Mm-hmm.
Because of like I said, Alison's kind of like manipulation or preying on her feelings and things. So I could see that being a read there. I don't know if I'm fully bought into it, but it's not. Yeah, I don't know.
That's
not
okay.
Great.
Let's talk about Haleb.
All right.
He's back.
Welcome.
The last time Haleb saw Miranda was the day the show ended, when we watched the finale.
Mm-hmm.
And we know from watching Ravenswood, God help us all, that the last thing we saw was Miranda in the place where they had all been living at the house with ghost Haleb. So what the fuck happened?
So for people who didn't listen to our Ravenswood episode, the very last episode of Ravenswood, Hanna comes to town.
Briefly.
Yeah, so that is
She's
like
got brunette hair. It's a whole different Hanna.
It's very strange. And so that's what they're referring to in that, where it's like, oh, the last time we saw her. So and Miranda also, spoilers for Ravenswood. I mean, you can jump ahead or listen back to those episodes if you want, but jump ahead maybe to the next chapter. I list chapters on the videos. Well, this one will come a little later. So maybe we're kind of recording this day before, so maybe jump ahead just a couple minutes. But I'm assuming they like went to the afterlife together.
So they went into the light kind of thing?
I guess. Because why
How?
wouldn't
But how would they
Caleb
be free? So did he undo whatever was keeping them all trapped there? And what was coming to
By-
get them?
by having them pair up together? Because that's what he was afraid of. The Hat Man is not the the preacher. I forget his actual name, but essentially the Hat Man, because he kind of like appears to you like as if he is.
That show makes some of my dreams seem like they could be cinema quality.
There's some alright stuff buried in there.
No. But some of my dreams have really great plot lines that they just drop.
That was my assumption, is that somehow her meeting up with ancient Caleb. Then
It's Ghost Caleb.
What?
He's not ancient, just ghost.
Just go Ghost Caleb, right?
He's only like a couple hundred years old. God,
I mean,
don't you
how do
read
you
fantasy?
describe?
Ghost Caleb?
I mean, but how would you describe ancient? A couple hundred years old, not qualify?
No, I feel like ancient is like, I picture like decrepit and like more like zombie, less like or not zombie, but you know what I mean, like decomposing, less like ghosty. I feel like ghosties aren't
Teen
ancient
Ghost.
unless they're like around from like the like Victorian era, I guess.
Okay. All right. So like before.
I guess I don't know what era this thing. I don't remember.
He was
it was
100.
it was
He was
like
100 years
1900s.
old.
Yeah. No, that's Edward Cullen age. That's fine.
All right. So teen
If
heartthrob.
you don't have your 100-year-old paranormal man, what are you doing? Or monster?
It's fair enough.
Yeah.
Open all. So that was the only thing I could think of, is that somehow they broke the curse.
Oh.
And
Okay.
Caleb went home.
Yeah, why did he leave?
Because I guess he had nothing else to do. He's like, well, my ghost girlfriend's gone, so I'm gonna go haunt Ravenswood or Rosewood, and then go back to Montecito.
Yeah. Who blew
Yeah, there's
up
nothing tying him to Rosewood.
Hannah?
I know, but so he's just like coming by, just like, I just came to get my coffee and see if I could find you.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's like, oh well, I don't want to, like, that was his home,
I
whereas
just
like
go-
Montecito's where his mom is.
Right.
That's where he felt at home, because that's where Hanna is, because he loves Hanna. Who blew up Toby and Jenna's house?
So my idea is like, is this like a false flag operation? Jenna blows up her own house? Because I was thinking about who the my suspects are, and like Jenna's part of it, and there's like, or like Melissa, which is then connected to Mona and things. So it's like, what possible reason would someone have for blowing up the Cavanaugh house? Unless there was like things related to Toby's mom in the basement or something. They had to get rid of it because then it would discover the whole thing. So then I could see it being, why blow up the entire house? I don't know. I put false flag. I'm going under false flag here. Jenna blew up her own house.
Who's our new A? Or the A? Or
The
whoever
A.
was telling Shauna what to do? Or was Shauna A and now someone else is A?
Yeah, I don't think it was Shauna. Probably Jenna, Melissa, potentially Toby. No, I don't think Toby's A, but I think he could have done something.
You think Toby could have done something?
Okay, everybody's on my suspect list. I don't like it any more than you do.
Well, that's all I have for this episode, which thank God, because I think we've talked about this episode longer than it was on television.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't like this episode very much. Well, all right, let's take a break. Okay, episode 101, season 5, episode 6, Run, Allie, Run. Friends all pick up their phones to a text from A that says, "Did you miss me, bitches?" Emily says it can't be Shauna. She's dead. They wonder where Toby... They wonder where Toby is as the house explodes again. Spencer hangs up on a call from Toby. No one was inside the house. The friends all wonder what it means with A being back. Emily doesn't believe it, and the other friends tell her that A is in fact back. They wonder why they resurface now. Hanna is at the brewery and sees Caleb at a table. She goes to talk to him. He was with Toby overnight. Just keep an eye on him.
Boy
He says,
besties.
yeah, he shows Hanna the paper, the newspaper that day that says there was a natural gas leak that caused the explosion. And she's like, the cops aren't even going to look into it. And he's like, well, they should all be driving clown cars around here. Caleb says we have to look into it. Hanna doesn't want to and says things have changed since you were gone. Like, I don't want to like push this. And he's like, well, I may have to go to Montecito for a while anyway. Aria tells Fitch that she killed an innocent person. And he's like, she was an innocent, but she says it'll look guilty. Aria's like all freaked out, and she's like, "What did Mona say? Like, you know, it'll like look very guilty that I didn't say anything." Fitz is looking into Jessica and Bethany's connection. That Jessica was buried in the same spot Bethany was. Isn't that interesting? Fitz is looking for the file from Radley that mentioned Bethany, but like I had gotten it during my book research, but I just can't seem to find it. Planting seeds for later. Spencer sneaks home to grab books and is surprised to see her dad home. He stops her and asks what's going on. Spencer's like, we know you and Melissa lied about where you were on the night Jessica died. What will happen when the cops find that the same pills in Jessica's system was in your medicine cabinet? He's like, I didn't do anything. And Spencer asks where they went. Spencer and Aria catch up at school. Apparently, Melissa and Peter drove to the lake to talk, but he didn't tell Spencer about what. Fitz calls Aria to check in, and Aria updates Spencer on the search for Jessica and Bethany's connection. Spencer asks if Aria's going over to Fitz later, and if it's strictly professional, and Aria's like, yes. Spencer's like, why did you bring him to Emily's last night? And Aria's like, well, there was a slip-up. And then Spencer then berates her. The other friends come to the table. Alison gets a text, and it has a video of Jessica being buried, and it's from A, and the text on it says, I buried your mom the same way I watched her bury you. The message is then suddenly deleted. The friends wonder who is A now. Spencer says, my dad didn't kill Jessica. And Aria says, unless your dad is A. Hanna says, doesn't rule out Melissa either. Spencer's like, we should trust Fitz to find the connection with Bethany because that's like our best chance. Alison wants to leave town now. And Hannah's like, if A wanted to kill you, why play games? The friends say everyone knows you're alive now. And if you could run, where would you hide? Spencer visits Radley and sees Lieutenant Tanner, angry with Radley personnel for not cooperating. Spencer then tries to act casual and hide, and Tanner seems to completely miss her being there. Eddie Lamb then comes to the waiting room. Spencer asks if he's heard about the Cavanaughs settlement, and he's like, yeah, well, I'm just glad the family got their money. Spencer asks if he thinks this is a coincidence with Bethany being buried in the dealer's backyard, and if he knew Bethany, and he's like, I can't talk about patients with you or the cops. Spencer pleads with him and that someone else might get framed for the murder. He's like, I wish I could help. Spencer stares at the security camera on the wall. Alison is staying at Hannah's house and is freaked out by the doorbell. It's just Travis coming over, and Hanna steps out to talk to him, and he's mad because they had plans to go to dinner at 7. It's like, I'm sorry, spaced. Alison's in there. I didn't want to leave her alone. Travis, like, I saw Mona's video, and Alison doesn't look like a victim. Hanna apologizes for Lucas's party and being drunk, and Travis asks if they're okay since she was like just on the phone all night. Hannah's like, yes, of course. And like she'll call him later when Alison leaves. She heads back inside and finds Alison on her phone. Alison won't tell Hanna who she was talking to, and Hannah's like, it sounds like you were making plans to go somewhere. Alison's like, don't tell the girls or try to stop me. Love to stay, but I can't live like this. And when I'm gone, you can go back to focusing on your love triangle. And Hannah's like, well, okay, I'll help you. Yeah, okay. Bet, get your bags packed. Fitz and Aria.
Cool.
Exactly. Yeah, see ya.
Let me get the cash.
Get these like weird things out of my hair. Fitz and Aria sort through boxes. It's like boxes of his like research stuff, right? Aria says things can't go back to the way they were. Fitz is like, I wish I could go back and change things, but Aria's like, you can't. Last night was a mistake. Fitz answers the door to Lieutenant Tanner, and she goes to hide and hands him an envelope that was on his doorstep. She asks him to come in, and he invites her. He covers a picture of Aria and him with the envelope that was on his doorstep. She asks him about Shauna and if he knew her well. Fitz like, well, she wasn't a student of mine, so no. Tanner asks, like, oh, like, did you ever mention that your family owned a theater? And Fitz is like, well, it came as quite a shock when she turned up there. Tanner's like, it's so strange. You got shot the night before, and she'd gun residue on her shirt. But she's like, oh, there's nothing else for now, and goes to leave. She notices Aria's purse sitting on the table. Paige finishes swimming and is the last one in the locker room, and then another Emily jump scare. She presses Paige for the names of who was part of Mona's revenge scheme. Paige is like, Mona didn't make Alison say those things on the video, so she's not sorry. Emily's like, the Cavanaugh house was a setup, and like thinks Mona had something to do with it, and now someone is threatening Alison. She encourages Paige to step up before someone gets hurt. If you saw something, Paige, say something. Spencer pleads to her mom to give Peter a chance as they sit at the grill. They didn't see him walk in, and Spencer's like, I invited him to eat.
Ew.
Yeah, Spencer and Emily both need to stop messing. Like, get out of here.
Yeah, everyone needs to leave other people alone. Did we learn nothing from Aria trying to get her parents back together?
Right? Mind your own business.
Yeah, stay out of it.
Alison is picked up by Noel, or is going to be picked up by Noel at the Princeton train station. Hannah's like, okay, rather than you taking the train, I'll just drive you there. Alison's like, I want to see my dad before I leave and get a few things. And Hannah's like, okay, like I'll get cash for you, and you tell me when you're ready to leave. Alison says, thank you, you're really saving me. And we see Alison leave her ticket on the nightstand. Spencer watches her parents and leaves when she sees Peter touch Veronica's hand. Oh, look, they're making up. Aria wants to get all the files out of Fitz's apartment before Tanner comes back with a warrant. Aria says, you can put everything in my attic. Fitz opens up the envelope to a drawing. It looks like Mrs. De Laurentiis watering her roses and a giant demon trying to eat her. It's signed on the back by Bethany. Aria wonders if A dropped it there, and Fitz runs to check his security camera footage. He's like, I still have those up. My creeper cams. Emily rushes into
He just had a Ring doorbell before anyone else had a Ring doorbell. That's the least creepy thing Ezra does, is put a camera in the vent to watch his front door.
I guess so.
It's the least, I mean, it's the least creepy part of the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
At least he's watching his own door.
I guess so. I still find Ring doorbells creepy.
Well, you know.
Yeah, I guess it's more anomaly. Yeah.
Yeah. I just like, out of everything he does, that's fine. You just want to make sure no one's robbing you? Cool, cool.
Does he have a side business selling data to the police? Emily rushes into Hannah's room and says, Paige name names. Ugh. And Lucas and Melissa are working with Mona. Paige, why'd you have to squeal? She hasn't told Spencer yet, and Emily wonders where Alison is and wants to go tell her. Hannah's like, oh, just wait till morning to tell her. What?
I adjusted my microphone and it made a noise.
And then Emily's like, oh, it's too important, and then sees the train ticket, and then sees that Hanna is packing a go bag. Hannah's like, Alison was going to leave, but I stopped her, and Emily doesn't believe her, so Hannah's like, okay, I was going to get her out of here. It's not for safe for her. Emily says, the only reason you're helping her is you've changed since she's been back. Hannah says, I saw you two holding hands last night, and Emily says, well, she was frightened. What was I supposed to do? And then rushes off to go talk to Alison. Paige opens her locker and pulls out her clothes and falls out a dead rat. Alison comes home and finds her house empty. When did that, damn, they move fast. Abe moves fast. Allie comes home and finds her house empty. She calls her dad and reaches him, and she's like, okay, I'll just sleep over at Hannah's tonight. She hangs up and goes to her room. We see a black glove turn off the living room light. Spencer is in her room and looks up Bethany Young and finds an article on the Philly Source. She then goes to the Radley website and writes something down that we don't see. Alison pulls out a drawer, and underneath the drawer, there's a fake ID and cash. She goes to leave and finds the light off in the living room. Black Hoodie approaches behind her with a fireplace poker and hits her, and then goes to choke her with a scarf. And Emily pulls up and sees the front door open. She runs in and grabs Black Hoodie, but they overpower Emily. Emily tells Alison to call the police. She says no, it overpowers Emily and runs away. Emily tells Alison to call the police. So she says no, and you can't tell my dad either. Emily's like, you don't want anyone to know. If you don't want anyone to know, that's fine, but you aren't going anywhere. Hannah visits Haleb at a cabin, potentially Spencer's. And Toby said that she could find Haleb there. She tells him about abetting Alison and leaving, and she's like, oh, I did it for my own selfish reasons. Still want Alison gone. Caleb's like, whatever she stirred up is still going to be with you. I should know. Ravenswood is still with me. As with all of us. Hannah asks what did happen, and Haleb doesn't answer, and she's like,
because he doesn't know. Haleb never answers this question, and you know why? Because nobody fucking knows. Mm-hmm. And they thought maybe people would care enough to bring it back, or like, I don't know. I don't know why they don't just explain what happened.
Mm-hmm. Get the fans stoked up. And I hope you decide to stay. Fitz and Aria review the tape. Aria says maybe you should tell Tanner the truth that Shauna shot you. Fitz says why, and Aria's like, you lied to police, you'll get in trouble, I can't believe I brought you into this. And Fitz is like, no, I did when I wrote the book. They see Eddie on the tape drop off the envelope. So then Fitz is like, wait, I interviewed for him for the book. Why would Eddie drop off something for Fitz? And Aria's like, and not for Spencer. Aria, Emily, and Spencer and Alison all meet up. They tell Spencer about Melissa. Aria shows them the drawing and that Eddie dropped it off. And Spencer's like, Eddie wants Fitz to know there's something to investigate there. They want to go back into Radley to investigate. A sends Alison a text, says, see how easy it is.
I love that they like jump to that conclusion. Because like if someone dropped off a weird picture, I'd be like, wow, I wonder why she drew this.
I know. I'd be more
like looking for clues in the picture than like being like, oh, that means I should investigate Radley. More.
You got to start with the evidence you have before you go undercover. The A sends Alison a text that says, "See how easy it is to kill you? It'll happen if you leave town." Spencer says, "A wants you alive in town. That's worse than death." Allison thanks Emily for saving her. Emily asks if she wants her to take her home. Allison's like, "I don't want to be alone tonight. Can I stay here with you? We'll just sleep, I swear." Emily says yes. We see a time lapse as Emily just watches her sleep all night.
Mm-hmm.
Veronica reads an article on her iPad about Bethany's grave at the brew. Spencer meets up with her, and Veronica gets a call. It was from Peter, and she's like, "Spencer, we're moving back home." Peter is the one that's instead moving out. Spencer's broken up by this, and Veronica's like, I'm leaving your dad because this is years of lies." Spencer pleads with her to give him a chance. Veronica's like, "Already have, and way too many." Hanna walks to school and sees Travis. She asks him to lunch, but he says he has things to do. Hanna didn't call him back last night, and she tries to make an excuse about Alison, but he says he saw Haleb at the grill. Hanna tries to stop him. Travis is like, "I can't do this if you're only in it halfway. I like you too much." Aria interviews at Radley, and they like her school grades, but warn her that patients can be a bit aggressive. Like, "We want to make sure you'll be comfortable working here." And Aria's like, "Yes." Emily and
Let me
Alison,
tell you about my boyfriend.
Well, I'm actually, one of your patients targeted me. Do you know Moa? Emily and Allison go to. You think that would immediately cross all of them off?
Uh-huh.
Emily and Allison go to get in the car to leave when Lieutenant Tanner pulls up. Tanner asks her to come down to the station with her dad later to come answer questions about Shauna and where she was the night she died. Allison's like, "I was in Philly with the girls." And Tanner's like, "Specifically where?" Emily and Allison are both silent, and Tanner's like, "Those are the kinds of questions we'd like to ask." They're like, "Tell your dad to give me a call," and hands Allison her card. As Tanner leaves, Allison gets a text that says, "Time for the caged bird to sing." Signed by A. We see a condolences card signed by A and is placed on a bouquet for the parents of Bethany Young. The gloved black hand then puts on a dark veil. The end.
Okay. How long until Toby or Haleb and Hanna get back together?
Oh, next episode? Next episode. Or I guess, are you talking about how, Fitz and Aria together or, together?
I mean, comfortably together, not they're hanging out together.
I'll say 4.
Okay.
Say 4 episodes. Two podcast episodes from now.
What did Eddie Lamb mean by this photo? What was his purpose with this?
Yeah, I think he's like, "I got to go to someone that'll investigate this, a third party."
Mm-hmm.
It's his way of leaking it to the press, but not the press.
Mm-hmm.
This weird guy that's doing a book on things. So does he know that the rest of them are connected to Fitz?
Why was Fitz talking to anyone at Radley about his book? Mona,
probably.
But you can't talk about Lamb can't talk about Mona.
And well, he was investigating Jessica, and Jessica was,
I guess so,
on the board there. So I mean, who knows what? We don't know what Fitz found out.
Fair enough.
But apparently he was close enough with Eddie to come after him, or at least Eddie knows that he's connected to people.
Maybe.
I don't know.
What does Eddie know?
What does Eddie know?
Why did Hanna volunteer to let Ali stay with her? Out of all of them.
Oh, why did Emily?
Hanna. She stays with Hanna. So Hannah's helping to pack her stuff and get her out.
Oh, after the I think Alison probably just told her, and Hannah's the one that
I thought Hanna volunteered. Oh, you can stay with me.
I think Hannah's the one that's been going out of her way the most. To help. Everybody else is kind of ghost town, where Hanna is the one that's stepping up. So I think that's why Hannah's the one that's feeling the most
burnt out by it.
Yeah.
Why would Ezra let Lieutenant Tanner into his house? Do you have a warrant? No, you are not passing this threshold.
Not very smart, is he?
No, he's dumb. Who's the A attacking Ali in her house?
Man, is Lucas being sent out for dirty work again? Because I think it's part of that team sort of thing.
Is it the same A that put the dead rat in?
Yeah,
is that
part
Mona?
of that. I think that's Mona for sure. But it seems like Mona's part of that team, or at least connected to those people. So, I guess possibly Lucas or something. I don't know. Is Melissa going in and attacking her? or Mona. I mean, Mona also seems, I guess, higher up on the list. Which the fact that they smack her with the fire, I was like, damn, like that's super destructive.
All the liars are lying to each other. Remember when I used to make you keep track of who was lying to who at the beginning?
Oh,
I won't do
right.
that now, but
Good God.
because we got Emily lying about her involvement with Alison. We
Mhm.
got Aria, who, I mean, she confessed to what she was doing.
It was pretty quick.
Yeah.
And then Spencer's like, what the hell are you doing? He was writing a book about us.
And Aria's like, yeah, but
Yeah.
you know, love is love or whatever. Which is not.
But I love him.
Daddy, I love him. It's very The Little Mermaid core.
Just making super decisions.
Um,
But
yeah, Hannah's trying to get rid of Ali, which is fair.
yeah, it's that familiar pattern of everybody's. We got to get level set with everybody now keeping secrets yet again to like hold over. It's not exciting in the 5th time around.
No. 18-year-old Caleb has more facial hair than I thought a 18-year-old could have.
Oh no! So in high school, there was like No Shave November and stuff like that.
No one did that where I lived.
Oh, a lot of people
Until
did.
I didn't hear about that until I went to college, I don't think.
Friends of mine, like
Unless, like, I mean, I don't know.
like Brady had a beard in high school. Like people who had beards.
I don't feel like anyone had facial hair at my high school.
There are a lot of people that did. Like our friend Connor had like full facial hair. People would like shave it so they'd have like mustaches and stuff. Not
I mean,
me,
like some
but,
people
like,
had like sad, but they were sad. They weren't
oh
like.
no, they were full. I mean, some people did, like me. It's like, I'm gonna try No Shave November, and it's like, oh, this is gross. It's getting a little like goat beard. Like, what is happening here? And like nothing. It's like the mustache that doesn't fill in the middle. Yeah. So it was always like the friends that like had facial hair. It's like, damn, like they got good facial hair.
What's A planning with the girls? Like, what's A's goal here?
That's a good fucking question.
What are A's motivations?
I know at this point, like now that Allison's out in the open to like get Alison, and I still think that there must be something that Alison knows that we just haven't learned yet. There's got to be connected of like why they like are targeting Alison so much. If it still has to be going back to NAT's club stuff, or at least something that she saw on a tape somewhere, right? Or they at least assume she did. I think that's the root of it all. But the Jenna house blowing up thing, I can't make heads or tails about.
Yeah.
Now we're back comfortable. For the record, I'm very happy that we have an antagonist again in this show. There's at least like something here. I'm getting kind of lost in like kind of the low key melodrama of it all. Isn't as exciting, but I have no idea where we're kind of at with A as an entity. And all the almighty A.
Why is Aria the Radley volunteer?
Spencer already been in there. I mean, Emily could have gone too.
What about Hanna?
Hanna also. Hanna can't hold down a job. They already sent her into the dentist. She didn't do a great job. Hanna wasn't at that meeting though.
Oh yeah.
She was with Caleb. Being like, I feel bad because like I'm annoyed with my shitty friend and I wanted her gone. Like, fair enough.
Also, like, what happened in Ravenswood? Oh, you're not going to tell me? Okay, cool.
Right. I'm glad we're right back to this.
I remember watching these episodes being so annoyed because I hadn't watched Ravenswood, and I was just like, what the fuck happened on this show? Right. Like, there was obviously no conclusion because even the way Caleb talks, I'm like, who comes back from the end of their show sad?
You're like, what's this? Aria is just the one that's going to dive in there. She's got to take things head on. So it's like, all right. And also, great worker. She was a great worker when she worked for the photo people.
That's true. Who's in the veil? The black veil at the end.
I was wondering if that's Jenna. If there's like an act,
guess.
It's condolences signed A.
Yeah.
And we know the condolences are for Jessica.
They're for the the parents
Bethany?
of Bethany Young.
Yeah, I could see Jenna doing that, and like that is a way of pointing the police in a specific direction.
Those are all my questions.
Yeah, I try not to do the body build thing too much.
It's not accurate.
But that's my assumption at least right now.
I mean, it might be on this one. That might have actually been the person who it is in there. I don't know.
In the veil.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, unless it's like Melissa and like Peter has something to do with, or the family had something to do with like Bethany ending up dead. Peter ran her over with a car.
And buried her in the backyard?
No.
Hitting someone's cat. Like, good God.
I mean, not great.
It's not good.
No.
All right, you want to take us to Theory Corner, honey?
Let's do it. 1 minute here. All right, let us step into... Theory Corner, everybody. Big news flash. Again, I'm a little lost at sea, but I will continue to hold on to my theories that I think Jenna is possibly up there, and I think the crying over Shauna is absolutely real, and I think if we do think Jenna is A, that we can connect it back to the way she talks to Aria too, that it's all my fault. Of like how she lost everybody and sort of thing. And if we're reading that at face value, that it's a thing to do with potentially being involved with the friends and trying to like.
Who else has Jenna dated?
No.
And Garrett, right?
Garrett, yes.
Okay.
I was like, there's another person. How soon? I forgot.
I was like, I know someone else ended up dead.
Yeah, and the way that Jenna is still connected to doing nefarious things and whatever the hell happened with like trading Mona the Mustang.
Well, Jenna can't see.
Oh, right. So she just gave it away.
I mean, she might have sold it. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's like a good reason for that. It's like she can't drive it.
Yeah. And meeting up with Mona on like trying to get rid of Alison, that there could be something still there on Alison wise. Melissa, you know, she's girl boss, and there's fairly secret stuff happening there, so that seems like a good place to point. Like I mentioned, there's the idea of Toby potentially doing nefarious things. That my theory that he could be, that whatever's going on with his mom and Radley connected him, like he's known about it maybe longer, or like found out something and was mad about like Jessica or something like that. That this could be going on a lot longer than we know. And is related to the De Laurentiis family, and things of that nature. I don't like that, but this is where we're at with our theory crafting. I don't think it's any of the friends, and if they went straight back to Mona, it'd be very funny. But I'm trying to think if there's...
Mona's got the A team, and then she's got her geek squad. Like, she's got two different teams she's running.
Exactly. I mean, she really does.
She's a girl boss.
Yeah, she really is. We respect it. I just don't see any of the friends turning out A. Fitz is on too much of a straight and narrow path at this point. And if they did it like Sidney all of a sudden, then I'd be like, I don't want that to be it, so I'm not gonna entertain it. Just because it's like, oh cool, you brought in a new character just to like point the finger at like this late in the game.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh wow, she's connected to everything. It's like, that'd be a real bummer.
Yeah.
So and there's also the there's just like that kind of would be annoying there. And there's I think whatever is related to Peter and Melissa's thing is that it is maybe something to do with Bethany, but that there's probably something connecting back up to Radley and her stay there, and then connected to Jessica, and that maybe
Bethany's stay at Radley?
Yes, Bethany's stay at Radley, and then Melissa potentially seeing her on the night she disappeared and like something happening to her or something. And so it's like, no, I saw her talking to Jessica, confronting Jessica on that night or something. and maybe some accident happening there. So maybe not quite. Whatever that interaction was, is maybe it helps exonerate Spencer from attacking Alison. Maybe she assumed Bethany attacked Alison that night or something. But yeah, and that then she turned on Jessica. Maybe, I don't know. So it very conjecture at this point. But I think whatever it is with the Hastings is not going to stick. It's going to be like we saw something and it was potentially like misunderstood. So yeah, I don't have a lot of clues at this point in the game, so it's a little hard to like pull things together on where it might go. With the introduction of Bethany and Radley, but I mean, it's all roads lead back to Radley in the show. So hopefully, we have more, substantive theory corners in the future.
There we go.
So,
all right,
we will see you all next time. Goodbye. I'm just happy A's back.
I just really missed A.
I did. I don't really care as much about like Alison making good with the members of the school.
No, it's boring.
Yeah. I was like thinking back like that, the analog to this of like Twin Peaks or something. It's like, is that all about the town? It's like, but that has a deeper roster of characters to kind of ping things off of. And you just also, because even when you find out who Laura Palmer's killer was, which is kind of where we're at with like Alison, that it's Alison's back instead of, that's like carries the same weight of like resetting the show and kind of unmooring like that like plot thread, that like that motivation of moving the plots forward. Twin Peaks also kind of gets lost in season 2 too, but you don't get the amazing things like Andy and Dick Tremaine thinking that a little kid is like the devil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like great, like outlandish bits like that. There's not that happening. So it's like, okay, we're just kind of following along with these characters. So it's like, okay, cool. Now we're back onto something. And hopefully that gives the show a little shot in the arm.
There we go. All right.
Well, you can find this podcast on all your podcast platforms of choice at Dead Ends. You can also, at Dead Ends. And you can also find the video version on YouTube at dead_ends. And rate, reviews, subscribe, tell your friends, all that good stuff. And you can send in questions, like Emily said. And if it's future related, put Brenton do not read in the subject line. And that is at deadendspcast@gmail.com. That is listed in the description box of all the episodes.
All right.
Cool. So, we're still here.
I wonder how little
I don't think that
we'll know.
We're going to find it. We're going to find out everything. I think I was whispering too quiet.
I wonder how little, like how many questions you won't have answered by the end of the show.
It's going to be so many.
You should start keeping a list of questions, and we'll just cross them off when you get answers. And then
it's very apropos of our next show, too.
There's one scene that's going to come up, I think it's in this season, that I thought was like the biggest clue, and it absolutely went fucking nowhere.
It'll be very funny if I have the exact same thing. We'll look forward to that.
All right. Love you. Bye.
Bye.